What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to Behind the Arc Basketball on YouTube. Massive news today in the college basketball world. Five-star recruit in the class of 2020, 6'11" center Makur Maker, announced today that he would commit to an HBCU, a historically black college or university, as he is committed to Howard University. Maker is ranked as the number 16 recruit in the class of 2020 by ESPN. He happens to be the highest ranked recruit to ever commit to an HBCU since the ESPN recruiting database began ranking recruits. Now later on in this video, I will talk about the positive impacts that Maker's decision will have for the future of HBCU basketball. And man, I applaud and respect the decision here by Maker to choose Howard. He chose Howard over the two schools with the most NCAA titles, choosing Howard over UCLA and Kentucky, and also the Memphis Tigers appeared in his final list of 4 schools. Maker announced today on Twitter, quote, "I was the first to announce my visit to Howard, and others started to dream what if. I need to make the HBCU movement real so that others will follow. I hope I inspire guys like Mikey Williams to join me on this journey. I am committing to Howard U and Coach Kenny Blakeney." Close quote there by Makur Maker today. Now, if Maker does happen to get selected after college to the NBA draft, Maker would be the first HBCU prospect since Kyle O'Quinn back in 2012 for Norfolk State, which O'Quinn led Norfolk State to their only NCAA tournament, which they upset number 2 seeded Missouri back in 2012. Now, with the massive news today of Makur choosing Howard, I'd like to discuss here how Maker's decision will have a positive impact here on the future of HBCU basketball. So Maker's going to be creating change here for players to follow along in his lead, and I admire and respect his decision here because his decision happens to not only be about basketball. His decision is not about how many national titles a program has, and Maker's decision wasn't based that Howard is coming off a season with a 4-27 record, which resulted in a last place finish in their conference. Maker's decision is simply to create change here in the college basketball world, and his decision will allow for other top 100 recruits to follow in his footsteps in committing to an HBCU program, which happens to play in 2 different college basketball conferences, either in the MEAC or the SWAC. Those are the 2 HBCU college basketball conferences. 5-star recruit in the class of 2023, Mikey Williams, has the chance to follow in Maker's footsteps 3 years from now, as Williams is thinking about playing at an HBCU program. Maker's decision, though, it's not about money either, with the money that a program has to pour into their multi-million-dollar training facilities like how some of these power conference teams do. Maker's decision is also not about playing in an arena with 14,000 fans. His decision won't really allow him to get as much national exposure here as the Blue Bloods or power conference teams that play on national TV constantly, with their conference having TV contracts with the major networks with games in the primetime slots. As I don't really feel that this is going to have much of an impact here on Maker's draft stock, as even though he won't be playing in a major conference here, I still think that Maker will still have opportunities here to prove himself and help his draft stock come next season, especially early on in the non-conference leagues against tougher competition. For example, Notre Dame's men's basketball team will travel to take on Howard in Washington, D.C. The game will take place on Martin Luther King Jr. Day on January 18, 2021, as Notre Dame will mark their first road game ever against an HBCU program taking on Howard at Howard University. Now, according to CBS college basketball analyst John Rothstein, potential top 5 team Villanova will also be playing against Howard in the 2020 non-conference schedule, and also North Carolina State will take on Howard as well. So Maker here has a great opportunity against the non-conference slate to improve his NBA draft stock against these teams, since these are going to be the tougher teams that he competes against. And also, he has the chance to help out his draft stock as well if he does lead Howard to the 2021 NCAA tournament. That would be an incredible feat for Howard to accomplish here if Maker is able to lead his team to the 2021 NCAA tournament, to make that jump from being the last place team last season in the conference to, if possible, they could be the first place team in their conference for this upcoming season. But here, I just feel like Maker's decision, it is great from a competition standpoint as well for college basketball, because it's going to be much more difficult in the future for the Blue Bloods to win national titles if they keep on losing recruits here in the future to play in an HBCU program. And also, I feel like it's going to provide more balance here to college basketball in the future. The future of college basketball is going to change. You won't be seeing teams from the MEAC or SWAC here in the future making the NCAA tournament to play as the 16 seed in the 16 seed playing game, as I feel like there could be a greater likelihood that the MEAC or SWAC teams in the future here could possibly get higher seeds in future NCAA tournaments and have the opportunity to pull off many more upsets like Norfolk State did back in 2012 against Missouri, Hampton did as well against Iowa State, and Coppin State in 1997 pulling off the upset against South Carolina. As Maker's decision as well, I feel like it could pave the way for more HBCU games on national networks if more top recruits do commit to HBCU programs in the future. Fast forward to 10 years down the road here, and I bet you that the MEAC and SWAC will be bringing in much better talent a decade from now because of this decision today by Maker, which will lead to not getting a low seed for these teams from these two conferences like a 16 seed or a 15 seed in future NCAA tournaments down the road. So that's a wrap here to this video. Five-star recruit Makur Maker today has announced that he will commit to Howard University as he has made history today. Let me know what you think about his decision. Also, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to my channel, and check out all the other great content I have going on in my channel. Thanks so much for watching, everyone, as this is Behind the Arc Basketball on YouTube.